think there would be less confusion and less questions. And so hopefully we're going to try to fix that this morning. But what I'd like to do is just read the passage of Scripture that I read to you the very first time when we talked about the campaign, because this is the passage that stirred me to introduce this idea of this stewardship campaign to the leadership of the church. And I want to read it again because I believe it really sets the tone for what we want this to look like. Exodus 35, and Moses spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, "This is the thing which the Lord commanded, saying, take from among you an offering to the Lord, whoever is of a willing heart. Let them bring it as an offering to the Lord, gold, silver, and bronze," and he describes all the things that they could bring. "Then everyone came whose heart was stirred," verse 21, "and everyone whose spirit was willing. And they brought the Lord's offering for the work of the tabernacle of meeting, for all its service, and for the holy garments. They came, both men and women, as many as had a willing heart." And then it describes all the things that they bought. But verse 29 sums it up. It says, "The children of Israel brought a freewill offering to the Lord, all the men and women whose hearts were willing." And, you know, it was something that the Lord commanded, but it was for these people, and this is the description: whoever is of a willing heart, whose heart was stirred, whose spirit was willing. There is really going to be no pressure, no compulsion in this campaign. The most important thing to do is just pray and do what you feel led by God to do. Do what you feel good about doing. The time of prayer will be kicked off 2 weeks from tonight at a dinner in our new sanctuary. That's Sunday, September 20th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And I just want to say this. This is not a fundraiser dinner. How many of you ever been to a fundraiser dinner? It's not going to be like that. I went to a fundraiser dinner one time. It was $100 a plate. You know, the food's free, okay? And we're not going to have an auction. Because that's not what it is. It will be a time of celebrating and rejoicing in what God is doing as He's taking us into this new season. And it will kick off 6 weeks of a time of prayer. And all we ask is that you just listen to God, that you bring this before God and ask Him how He would like you to participate. I will be teaching during those 6 weeks on stewardship, which is something I do every year anyway. And it's actually been probably over a year since I've done it. So I'm just following the same pattern. And during those 6 weeks, we really want to encourage you to get involved in a small group. We've got some great materials that we're looking at just for a 6-week Bible study time of connection and kind of walking through this together. We are on a journey. And God is launching us into a new season, but we are totally trusting in God concerning everything. Our eyes are on Him. All that we ask you to do is pray and just do whatever He tells you. And you're going to be okay, and we're going to be okay. And we're investing in the future. And it's like this faith adventure that we're on. You know, our hope is to raise around $300,000. And you know, that may sound like a lot of money. Well, maybe it is a lot of money. But I know to God it's not a lot of money. Yeah, and we're going to raise that over the course of not just that first Sunday's offering, but over the course of three years' time. And see, what that'll do is it'll give us the money that we need to do the things that we need to do as we move in, but also to kind of put some more money in our coffers to kind of allow us to service our mortgage and the bills or the utilities that are going to be greater in our new building, and give us a chance to kind of grow as a congregation and be able to embrace that. The campaign consists of 2 parts. On Sunday, November 1st, it's kind of the culmination of it, but we're calling it Commitment Sunday. And we will have concluded kind of our 6th week of prayer focus, and we'll take an initial offering on that Sunday. And our prayer is that we will actually raise enough money on that Sunday to go ahead and do all of our moving expenses. Now, if we don't, we'll just do what we can do. I don't want anybody to feel pressure. I want you to realize that God is about to do something, and God is amazing. It's my focus is not on you. My focus is on Him, because He is our source. And so we're going to take an offering that Sunday, and see, the things that we want to do as we move into that new facility is we want to change out the carpeting, which is actually residential carpeting, and it's got some flaps in it, and people have tripped over those flaps, and we want to replace that carpeting, put a good grade of commercial carpeting in there. The Life Church, I can't believe they're doing this, but they're taking their speakers and their soundboard. But you know, God will deal with no. So we need to buy speakers. We need to buy a soundboard. We want to buy a soundboard actually just exactly like they have in there. They are taking their overhead projector. I'm not certain that this one will work in there. I don't know that it's powerful enough, but I'm going to check into that. But if it doesn't, we'll be buying an overhead projector. You know, so some costs coming up. There's some painting that would be very nice to get done before we get in there. We want to clean up our chairs and just do some general maintenance on our chairs. We actually have twice as many chairs as are in here. We have a bunch of them. Thank you, Don. He's got them in his backyard. Now, not all set up for an outdoor meeting. He's actually got him in a train unit, and so we've got plenty of chairs to fill up that sanctuary. Isn't that cool? But they do need cleaning. They do need some repairs done to them, and just a few things like that. There's some HVAC updates that we'd like to get done before we get in there. We'll see. We need to buy some furniture and some decor for the foyer, for the various offices, for the children's classrooms. And we estimate somewhere between maybe $50,000 and $70,000 is what we need to get all of that done. But again, let me say this as I'm saying that. There's no pressure on you. It's not about that. Pray. And ask God what your part is, and only be involved as you feel led by God to be involved. And the other part of this campaign is a 3-year pledge, an ongoing investment into the vision of grace. And let me say it again, only as God leads. You know, we would personally love everyone to be involved because we want you to share in the excitement. You know, but one person's level of involvement may be quite different than another person's level of involvement. That's okay. That's just fine. Whatever you feel God is leading you to do. I know that Mickey and I have prayed about this, and we know how God is leading us. And we didn't just get there like that. We've been praying. We've kind of gone through this process way ahead of you guys. And so has the leadership of Grace. But we've prayed. We know what God is calling us to give. We know what God is calling us to pledge. And we feel really, really good about it. In fact, we are excited because we know that whenever God leads you to do something, you're going to be blessed. You just really are. But see, the amount of money that we want to give, we couldn't possibly give during that single offering. But we can over the course of time, and so we're excited about that. So this is all that we ask you to do is pray about it. No pressure. We're not going to be saying, you need to give. I just don't do that. I'm just never going to do that. The only time I've ever made an appeal at an offering is when we're raising money for somebody else. When we're raising money to buy Bible sticks for the military, or whether it was human trafficking, or when we have a guest ministry in. You know, that's the only time you'll ever hear me make an appeal for money, because I just don't do that. God is our source. And let's just keep our eyes on Him during this whole process, and everything's going to be fine. Now, darling, I know you've got some things to add to that, right? Oh, go ahead. I'll wrestle you for it.
That's why we're not going to do it. Just so you know. It's so funny. Okay, when I was in elementary school, I was really young. I wanted to be on the wrestling team. So I was the only girl. I had all the gold medals. Because they go, no, you can't win doing that. So it's just like I was in 2nd grade. I was happy about it. Okay. That's way more than you needed to know, huh? Okay, one of the other things that's been on our heart, I'm kind of short, so I'm going to get up here so I can see your faces.
Here, I'll get down here.
Oh, look, we're the same height. No. One of the things that's really been on our heart, and I've been praying about for a number of years, is As we continue to grow, we're going to continue to have more families and more teenagers, and we want to do the best that we can for them. And so one of the things that's on our heart, we cannot afford to hire a youth pastor. I've been doing youth for the last couple of two and a half years. But one of the things that we ran by the board and also through the steering committee to get input is just kind of throw it out there. We'd like to fundraise so that we can hire part-time a youth pastor whose whole focus is working with the youth. As we step from this building into the other one, we're going to have an increase, and we want to have somebody who's really available to do that as we also continue to grow. My responsibilities grow and change also, and I love the teenagers. They're amazing. But we'd like to also pursue that area so that you're going to see that information as well. And so we're looking at wanting to fundraise as we go through this process to hire a youth pastor at a part-time for over the course of a couple years so that we have some time to see what that looks like. Okay, so I just wanted to share that also. And I think that's about it. Does that answer some of the questions that maybe you guys have had or been wondering about? Did you wonder about any of that? All right, you guys should totally come to the dinner. It's going to be free, but we do need to RSVP. And if for some reason I don't have an invitation with your name on it today, just let me know because I have some extra ones. And I'll take down your name and number.